Have you ever noticed, I mean, really noticed, the huge difference in how people handle their birthdays? It's fascinating, right?
Absolutely. You've got one camp, the,
Bah,
well, the big celebrators, huge parties, maybe birthday weeks, all over social media.
totally. The matching outfits, the curated photo dumps, the whole production.
And then on the complete other side, you have folks who treat it like, I don't know, just another Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. They're productive, they show up, they're perfectly pleasant, but the day itself, it just passes. No cake, no fuss.
They might not even bring it up unless you ask them directly.
And when you see that quietness about their own birthday, it's easy to wonder, what's behind it.
Right. We often project, don't we? We think, oh, maybe they're sad or lonely.
Or maybe they're just incredibly mature and above it all. Or is it something deeper, some psychological reason for that indifference?
Well, that's exactly what we wanted to explore in the source material for this deep dive. And what's really interesting is it's not just one thing. Our research points to basically 3 distinct psychological pathways that lead someone to say, nah, my birthday, it's just another day.
3 different reasons. Okay, so that's our mission today, right? To unpack those 3 motivations.
Exactly. Is it coming from a place of past pain? Is it about being overwhelmed by modern life? Or is it actually about a kind of inner satisfaction, a peacefulness?
And ultimately figuring out what that attitude, whether it's yours or someone you know, might reveal about their or your general mindset.
Yeah, because how you approach this one day can be quite telling, can it? It often mirrors how you handle other things, success, setbacks, your sense of self-worth, the other 364 days of the year.
Makes sense. Okay, let's dive into the first path. And this one feels like the toughest, emotionally speaking.
Agreed. Let's call this path 1, the weight of disappointment.
Right. So these are the people who don't celebrate anymore because fundamentally they've learned not to expect to feel celebrated.
It's a kind of adaptation, really. The sources describe people who, maybe growing up or in their early adult years, just faced repeated letdowns around their birthday.
Oof. Like what? Friends forgetting.
Yeah, or maybe family always downplayed it, or they tried to plan something small, a gathering.
And almost nobody showed up. Oh, that's brutal.
It really is. That feeling of putting yourself out there, making yourself a bit vulnerable by wanting to mark the day, and then crickets. Or just, underwhelming responses. That stings.
Yeah, it teaches you something pretty quickly, doesn't it? A hard lesson.
It absolutely does. It basically teaches your brain that hoping, expecting, maybe even just caring about this leads to pain. If you keep putting emotional energy into something and getting disappointment back.
You learn to stop putting the energy in. Protect yourself.
Precisely. The brain starts to think, okay, expecting good things here equals getting hurt. So the safest bet, stop expecting.
And there's a psychological term for that, isn't there?
Yes, it's learned helplessness. It's like if you keep trying a key in a lock and it never, ever works, eventually you just stop reaching for the key altogether.
Wow.
Your brain learns it's helpless to change that specific outcome, so it shuts down the whole expectation mechanism for that situation.
So it's not really about not caring deep down. It's almost the opposite.
In many ways, yes. For this group, it seems caring actually hurts too much. So declaring the birthday just another day becomes a defense.
A preemptive strike against potential disappointment.
Exactly. It's a way to avoid that sharp pain of feeling forgotten or unimportant by creating a narrative that, oh, they prefer it this way anyway. It's sad, but you can see how it works as an emotional shield.
Yeah, that definitely adds a layer of understanding, maybe compassion, when we encounter that quietness. Okay, but path 2 is completely different.
Totally different motivation. Nothing to do with past pain. This is about present-day pressure.
Let's call this one overwhelmed by modern life.
Or maybe the time poverty group, you could say.
Right. We all know this feeling, don't we? Just caught in that whirlwind of stuff. Work deadlines, maybe studying, family responsibilities, just keeping all the plates spinning.
The birthday rolls around, and honestly, before you've even had a chance to think about it, half the day's gone.
Or the whole day is just consumed by putting out fires or meeting obligations.
Well, this speaks to how our brains handle overload. When you're constantly juggling urgent tasks, your brain goes into a kind of, triage mode. It prioritizes survival, immediate demands.
And psychologists have a term for this too.
Yeah, it relates to something called time blindness. It's not necessarily forgetting the date.
It's more that the brain literally can't assign it the specialness it might otherwise deserve.
Pretty much. Think about your mental bandwidth, like an inbox that's constantly overflowing. Deadlines, sick kids, bills due, those are all urgent, Flashing red lights, priority one.
Okay.
Celebrating a birthday, even if you genuinely like to.
Yeah.
In that context, it might get mentally tagged as like priority 4 or 5.
And when the inbox is always full of P1s.
The P4s and P5s just don't get processed. There's no bandwidth left. The day gets squeezed out by everything else.
It loses its shine because your brain's just stuck in survival mode. I see this everywhere, especially with, hustle culture.
Right. Being busy becomes the norm, maybe even something people feel they should be.
But the cost is losing touch with these smaller but important moments of connection or joy.
And the sources back this up. For this group, it's not an active choice to ignore the day. It's just crowded out. Life's relentless pace means if you're not fighting to keep up.
There's just no room left for something purely celebratory. It's more about exhaustion than apathy.
Exactly, a function of being overwhelmed.
Okay, so we've got the path of pain,
Yeah.
that learned helplessness from past hurts, and the path of pressure, the time blindness from present overload. That takes us to path 3.
And this one is really fascinating, maybe even aspirational in a way.
Path 3. Celebrating inner worth.
Yes. This group is different because it's about a conscious choice. They aren't feeling neglected. They aren't necessarily swamped with work. They just happily, genuinely treat their birthday like a normal day.
Okay, this is the one I think people find hardest to understand sometimes. Why would someone choose to skip the fuss? Isn't celebrating yourself a good thing?
Well, this gets into where people source their sense of self-worth. The psychological research here is pretty compelling.
Tell me more.
Studies suggest that people who heavily rely on external validation, needing parties, gifts, lots of public attention, likes on social media to feel good about themselves, well, they often tend to be less emotionally stable overall.
Wait, really? So needing the big splashy party might actually indicate fragility?
It can, yeah. Think about it. If your happiness and sense of value depend entirely on other people showing up, giving you things, paying attention, your well-being is constantly dependent on things outside your control.
Huh. That kind of flips the script on what we usually think of as confidence.
It does. The person who genuinely doesn't need the external fuss for their birthday often has a more stable internal source of validation. It's renewable, it's self-generated.
But how do we know the difference? I mean, some people just love throwing parties,
Right.
They enjoy hosting, bringing people together. It's not always about needing validation.
That's a crucial distinction, absolutely. And the difference often lies in the underlying motivation. Is the joy primarily in giving the experience, in the connection? Or is it primarily about receiving attention and confirmation of your own importance?
Okay.
Often, that difference comes down to internal resources. And this is where a really powerful idea from psychology comes in, self-determination theory.
Self-determination theory, right? This feels like the core aha moment here. What does it say?
Basically, it suggests that true, deep, stable well-being doesn't come primarily from external rewards like money or praise. It comes from meeting 3 fundamental innate psychological needs.
Okay, what are they?
First, autonomy, feeling like you have control over your own life and choices. Second, competence, feeling effective, capable, skilled in what you do. And third, relatedness or connection is often included. But for the specific point about inner worth, autonomy and competence driving inner satisfaction are key. Feeling your actions align with your values.
Autonomy, competence, inner satisfaction.
Mm.
Okay. So if you feel genuinely solid in those areas,
Why would you need a specific day with cake and candles to tell you you're okay or valuable? You wouldn't.
the external validation becomes nice, maybe, but not necessary.
Exactly. The realization is something like, my worth isn't up for debate once a year based on who remembers or how big the party is. I know my worth because I'm living a life where I feel capable and in control. Their sense of self is constant, not conditional on the calendar.
That really shifts the focus. The celebration becomes internal, ongoing.
Yes. And this often reflects their general approach to life, right? This isn't just a birthday thing.
Connecting the dots. The birthday attitude is a mirror.
Yeah, the sources suggest people who choose this path, this quiet contentment on their birthday, often don't crave the spotlight in other areas either. They don't need constant pats on the back at work or to be the center of attention in social groups.
They're just, okay, quietly content, as you said.
Which, let's be honest, in today's world of comparison and FOMO, that's kind of a superpower, isn't it?
It really is an immunity to that external pressure.
And here's the positive flip side. Because they aren't waiting for one specific day to feel validated or special, they've often cultivated an ability to find value and satisfaction in the everyday.
So instead of needing one day to feel alive or loved,
They're tapping into that feeling consistently through living out their autonomy and competence day by day. They're celebrating living perhaps more than the anniversary of birth.
that completely reframes it. You go from maybe feeling a bit sorry for the person not having a party to actually admiring their level of inner security.
Precisely. It challenges our assumptions.
Okay, this is incredibly useful for anyone listening. So whether you're the party planner or the quiet observer, your approach likely links back to one of these three core drivers.
Let's quickly recap them based on the source findings. First, the birthday behavior might reveal underlying pain. That's the learned helplessness built from past disappointments acting as self-protection.
Got it. Or second, it could be driven by overwhelming priorities. That's the time blindness, where the sheer demands of modern life just squeeze out the space for celebration.
Right. And third, it could signal a kind of peace or emotional maturity. That's the emotional independence rooted in self-determination theory, where validation comes from within.
So the big question for you, the listener, is which pathway resonates most? When you think about birthdays, yours or others, is the drive for celebration or lack thereof, about needing proof, or about an existing inner peace?
Yeah, distinguishing between celebrating out of genuine autonomous joy versus celebrating out of a need for validation, that's the key insight, I think.
It really changes how you might look at those huge, elaborate celebrations we sometimes see.
It absolutely does. And that leads us to one final thought, kind of a provocation to leave you with based on everything we've discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
If the research consistently suggests that people who rely more on internal validation tend to be more emotionally stable, does that imply that some of the really big, high-pressure, attention-focused birthday celebrations might actually be, well, less about pure joy?
And more about counteracting an underlying insecurity, a need for that external proof of value.
Exactly. It's just something to consider, isn't it? A powerful lens to maybe apply next time you're scrolling through birthday posts or planning your own recognition. What's really driving the need to celebrate or not celebrate?